I'm here, but I don't feel real. You ever laugh? And feel emptier afterward? Like the sound left your mouth. But nothing inside you moved? You're here, but not really. Present, but not with yourself. Sometimes it feels like your whole life is happening through glass. You say the right things. Smile in the right places. But it's like watching someone else wear your face. And no one notices. Not even you. Until it's too quiet. Until the silence starts to echo, and you can't tell if it's around you or in you. How long have you been missing from your own life? You laugh in conversations. You show up. You respond. You even remember their coffee order. But underneath all that, you're not really in the moment. You're performing it, like a role you memorized a long time ago. Before you even knew you were auditioning. You've gotten so good at being there for others that no one notices when you quietly leave the room. Not physically, emotionally, like the light dimming behind the eyes, slow enough no one flinches. You move through your days on autopilot. Polite, pleasant, productive, but something in you is frozen, and you've stopped even reaching for the switch. You probably know this feeling too, even if you've never said it. That hollow in your chest that doesn't ache, it echoes. That strange float between moments where you're not sad, not angry, not anything, just not there. It shows up in ways you'd never call pain. You scroll past your own reflection. You forget what you said in a conversation you were just in. You laugh, and it sounds real enough. But inside, it's just quiet. No one asks. And honestly, you're relieved they don't. Because you wouldn't even know what to say. How do you explain this kind of invisible? This kind of gone? It's not like it came out of nowhere. You remember little moments, or maybe just the feel of them. Places where you tried to speak, but someone talked over you, smiled through you, moved on without ever seeing the you behind the words. You learned early that presence didn't guarantee recognition. That even when your mouth moved, you could still disappear. And so your nervous system adapted. It stopped trying to be known, and focused on being enough. Enough to stay useful, enough to keep peace, enough to not ask for more. Now, even in safe rooms, your body tenses without warning. Your breath gets shallow, not from fear, but from the weight of being on all the time. You notice the smallest shifts in others. A glance, a sigh, and somehow, you make it about you. What you didn't do, what you forgot to be. It's exhausting, but also familiar. You wouldn't know how to feel truly seen without waiting for it to vanish. You cope in subtle ways. You over-prepare, just in case. You apologize, even when no one blamed you. You offer help before anyone asks. Because that's how you've kept yourself needed. Kept yourself real. You've built an entire identity around being someone others rely on. But when was the last time you asked yourself what you needed? Or if you even know how to answer that? Some nights, you feel the disconnect more clearly. In the shower, in bed, staring at the ceiling. In those empty transitions where you're not performing, not reacting, just there. And in those quiet moments, you can almost hear it. That soft, steady question beneath the numbness. Where did I go? But there's no map back. Not yet. Just a kind of ache that doesn't flare. It hums. Low. Constant. You eat without tasting. Breathe without grounding. Listen without landing. And still, you keep showing up. Not because you feel connected, but because disappearing completely feels worse. You speak, but feel like a ghost in your own mouth. And no one knows, because you never stopped being useful. Never stopped smiling. Never stopped making it easy for others to forget that you're still learning how to remember yourself. Sometimes, even rest feels wrong. Too still, too quiet, like it's asking you to feel things you've spent years carefully avoiding. So instead, you stay just busy enough, just helpful enough, just fine enough, to never have to explain why you don't really feel anything anymore. And then, without warning, it comes back, that moment when someone laughs, and you pretend to join in. But inside, it's just static, like tuning into a radio that used to play your favorite song, and now only hums. You're not asking to feel better, just to not feel so far from yourself. But for now, you keep moving, And somewhere, behind the movement, you wonder if anyone sees the girl who forgot how to stay. And somewhere, behind the movement, you wonder if anyone sees the girl who forgot how to stay. But that wasn't the end of it. Because even in the moments when you try to stay, when you sit still, when there's no one else to read, no one else to care for, no one else to adjust your tone for, something inside you flinches, like your body doesn't know what to do. When no one's asking anything from it, stillness should feel like rest. But instead, it feels like being exposed. Like silence becomes a mirror. And you suddenly remember how long you've been avoiding your own reflection. You try to take a breath, but your chest only rises halfway. The inhale stalls. The exhale forgets to follow. You blink harder than necessary, just to make it feel like you're here. And this is where it quietly got worse. Not in some dramatic collapse, but in the way you move through your own home. Like a guest who overstayed. Careful with the lights. Apologetic to the walls. Holding your coffee like it might shatter. Whispering to no one in particular. I'm sorry. For what? You're not sure. Just, sorry. For existing in a way that feels too loud. Even when you haven't said a word all day. And that's the part no one ever asked her. What it feels like. To be everyone's safe place. But have nowhere to return to. When you need quiet. So you stay in motion. Not because you're okay, but because stopping feels louder than anything you could possibly say. You brush your hair. You clear your inbox. You answer texts with emojis and exclamation marks. And somewhere in between, you disappear again, but softer this time. Quieter. Like dust settling after a door closes too gently to notice. You don't remember when you started measuring your worth. In usefulness. In being easy to be around. In needing less. In asking nothing. You just know it's the only way you've ever felt. Like you belonged. So now, even your breath is polite. Even your rest is tense. Even your silence sounds rehearsed. Because what if someone heard you unravel? What if someone stayed long enough to see the parts of you that don't hold it together? And in that silence, something broke inside. Not loudly, not all at once, just a quiet shift. The way fabric gives under pressure. You thought it could hold. You noticed it, in the pause between footsteps. In the way your smile started arriving late. In the way your voice shook, not from emotion, but from having held it too flat. For too long. You still smiled, but your jaw hurt by evening. You still laughed, but your chest didn't move. You still answered, but only in sentences short enough to be forgotten. And the worst part? No one noticed. Because you made it look easy. Because you always do. You shrink just enough to still fit in the room, but not enough to feel safe inside it. You didn't want attention. You just wanted not to be forgotten. But even that felt too much to ask. So instead, you just became less, bit by bit, until even you started forgetting what you looked like when you were full. And every time someone asks, "How are you?" you hear yourself say, "I'm good," with a smile practiced so well. It doesn't even crack, and no one questions it. Because no one sees the version of you that stayed behind. The one still sitting at that kitchen table 10 years ago, trying not to cry too loud. The one who never learned how to take up space without apology. The one who waited for someone to say, "It's okay to not be okay," and got silence instead. You tell yourself it's fine. Not because it is, but because there's no one left to ask again. So you keep moving, keep nodding, keep pretending that numbness is peace. But some nights, right before bed, when your body finally stops performing, you feel it, that hollow, that ache, that quiet echo of yourself, somewhere inside the noise, and you don't speak, not because you have nothing to say, but because no one ever stayed long enough to hear it. And this isn't the bottom. This is the silence, before another layer gives way. This is the stare in the mirror that lingers a second too long, not searching, not judging, just seeing. Finally, maybe the most honest thing right now is that you're tired of pretending you're okay. Not broken, not falling apart, just tired of staying soft in rooms that never asked how you feel, of laughing because silence feels heavier than sound, The breath still catches. But this time, you noticed it. And that means something. Even if it doesn't fix anything. Maybe you're not invisible. Maybe you've just been too busy disappearing for everyone else. What if numbness wasn't failure? But the only way your heart knew how to stay? And when did quiet stop feeling safe? And start feeling like a place